Welcome to One on One, brought to you by Nebraska Equipment and Seward. I'm Eric Johnson. Joining me on this episode, we're going to take a look at teammates and the mentoring program. It's back to school time, and that means only one thing. Looking for that perfect mentor-mentee relationship is always crucial, and I think I have somebody that will help us out in that discussion. We're talking teammates mentoring right here on One on One. Welcome to One on One, brought to you by Nebraska Equipment in Seward. I'm Eric Johnson, and today we're talking a little different path. We are going to be talking with somebody special here. It's about recruitment. It is a coaching perspective in this area. Back to school time only means one thing. It is time to talk about recruitment and teammates, and the EMF network is so happy to be working alongside teammates to try to promote the extraordinary efforts that all are doing. Demo, Hannah, everybody there, the staff, to try to promote not only at a local level, but also on a regional level. And I thought to myself, what better way to get things started the right way than my next guest? None other than Dr. Tom Osborne. Sir, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you. How you doing today?
I'm fine, Eric. Once we got connected here, I had a little trouble. I'm not necessarily a technology genius, but we did get together. So nice to talk to you.
It is a pleasure to get to talk to you, sir. And yeah, technology is a fun thing as long as it works in our perspective. But glad that we get to communicate. Of course, talking about teammates mentoring. What better way to get things started the right way than having our first conversation with you, sir, and your inspiration and efforts. Walking through and seeing all the schools here as school gets back into session. Be there is across, and be there is, tell us a little bit about what be there means to the teammates mentoring program.
Well, I can go back to the inception of teammates. It was in 1991. I'd been in coaching for quite a while and seen a lot of changes, family structure, things that kids are going through, and I was spending less and less time on X's and O's and more time on personal issues. And what had happened was that the family structure had changed remarkably. Started coaching back in 1962. At that time, very rare to encounter a young man that we were recruiting who wasn't growing up under the same roof with both biological parents. Time went on, that changed significantly, and having to go to one town to see the dad, another town to see the mom. Sometimes there was no dad, sometimes there was no mom, and so just kind of on a whim, one day I got in front of our team. I said, "How many of you guys would be willing to serve as a mentor to some seventh or eighth grade boys in the Lincoln Public Schools?" 22 hands went up, and we had no idea what we were doing. We just went to Lincoln Public Schools and said, "We think there's some kids that would like to have a football player as a mentor." And they said yes, and so we matched them up. And the years went by, and seemed to be working well. And we're gratified because when these guys got to be seniors, of the 22, they all graduated. One guy was a little bit late because he was riding dirt bikes and making money around the country. But the thing that really surprised us was that the 22, 18 went on to college. We thought from that population, if we got 4 or 5 that went to college, that'd be really good. And so we thought, well, there's something to this, and so we expanded the program first here in Lincoln, then went on to the rest of the state in Nebraska and in Iowa. And now we're in Kansas, South Dakota, and Wyoming. So we're mentoring about 10,000 young people, and we've mentored 47,000 plus since inception. And so we know a little bit more about what we're doing now. We do a lot of studies, and find that in about 85% of our matches that attendance improves in school. There's fewer discipline problems, fewer trips to the principal's office, less classroom disruption, less criminal activity, gang membership, substance abuse, and so on. And then we found probably the most important thing was that about 80 to 85% of our matches that kids are more hopeful. And they realize that whatever circumstance they're in at the present time doesn't have to remain that way. And a mentor can show you the way through. There's some light at the end of the tunnel. And Gallup has, in their research, has found that probably the most significant metric in terms of success later in life is hope. If you have hope, then things can get better. And lots of kids right now are without much hope. You know, literally millions of kids. I think, according to the National Mentoring Partnership, 9 million kids report not having a single adult in their life that cares about them unconditionally, somebody they can turn to in a crisis. And there's probably more than that. So, anyway, it's important for us to continue to recruit mentors because a mentor is somebody who's going to be there, somebody who's going to be a constant in that young person's life. And many of those kids don't have any constant influence or effect in their life that they can count on. And so anyway, anyone who's interested, we love to have them. We are school-based, so that means you mentor in the school, and the school will set up a place for you to meet. They'll do screening, they'll do some training. They just don't throw you in there and say, do whatever you want. And the mentee also is trained. They understand what you're there for, what to expect, what not to expect. And we find that our mentors say, that generally speaking, they receive as much or more out of it than the mentee. Now, I'm puzzled about that. I finally surveyed about 50 of our long-term mentors, and they gave me various answers, like, well, I feel good when they come and throw their arms around me and glad to see me. Some of them said that it's helped me be a better parent because I realize now that kids are going through a lot of things that I didn't experience. You know, I was assuming, I think we all assume that things are today like they were 30 years ago. And that's not true anymore. And there's made them better parents, all kinds of answers. And I finally kind of distilled it down. I realized that what these mentors really meant was that serving somebody who on the surface can't do anything for you in return provides a sense of meaning and purpose in your life that you might not find any other way. And so meaning and purpose comes from serving and sometimes sacrificing. And it's not synonymous with happiness. Happiness has to do more with receiving. And so I think our mentors do get a lot out of it. And they do primarily provide them with a sense of mission and meaning and purpose. So enough from me. That's kind of where it all started and how it came to be.
And here's the thing about it being a mentor, it could be all varying aspects of life. Of course, with football coach, you could be anywhere from just a grocery store manager to a radio guy or whatever it is. All aspects of life. It's a unique deal because you can come and have that interaction with the mentee and maybe influence them into a career path they didn't even know about. That's the unique thing.
Right. There are just a lot of things that kids are not aware of. And so to have somebody in their life who, number one, cares about them unconditionally
Hmm.
and demonstrates the fact that they care by showing up. We meet once a week in a school, usually over the lunch hour, and lunch hours are 35, 40 minutes.
Hmm.
I'm going to see, mentor 2 kids per day. And one of them will be at school over the lunch period. Another one will be a little bit later in the day. And So it doesn't take a lot of time, the consistency, and our mentees, I think 99% of them indicate that they appreciate the mentor because they realize that their mentor cares about them, and that their mentor is there and somebody they can count on. And a lot of kids don't have that in their life.
That's exactly right, and a positive influence, and a small little story. When I was back in college, I just got to experience a small little influence of you in my life. I was a college student and long ago, and I reached out to you asking for help on a school project to graduate my get my degree, and I this picture of us
No,
back when you were the athletic director. I
both look
reached out
younger.
I know, right? I reached
Right?
out to you and I said, "Hey, is there any possible way?" And those words ring true to this day. You're like, "If it's for school, you please come on in. I'll take care of you."
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I got to say, you were a big impact in my life, and I'm forever grateful for what you did to me. And that was just from the outside looking in. And so it's an honor, just having that influence that you gave me in my education. So thank you for that.
I appreciate it. I wish I could remember that event so well.
You've had a lot on your plate over time, so no worries.
But you have the picture. It really did happen.
Well, and
That's right.
yeah, it's one of those deals, positive influence. You and Nancy, been a mentor to you. You had a mentee. Of course, you're passing along. You got some great people that are mentors as well. Demo, for example, nominated me. So I'm going to get together with the local Exeter Milligan chapter and get signed up there. So he nominated me to step up and be there. So it's real easy too, because getting on the website, which by the way, anybody who wants to become a mentor today, make sure and visit teammates.org for more information. And it's really as simple as 1, 2, 3, isn't it, Tom? You get
Mhm.
in there, sign up, and they contact you, and it's kind of on the ball rolling, right?
Mhm. Yeah, the thing that's a little bit unique is we have a building coordinator in every school building, and that coordinator will sign you in, have a place for you to meet, and sign you out and offer any kind of help that you might need, any questions that you might have. So it isn't like you're just kind of thrown into the situation with no preparation. And as I said, we do train our mentors and very carefully, and so we find that the outcomes are always very, very significant. And I would like to emphasize that the mentors really report receiving as much or more in the relationship in the mentee. So it is rewarding.
We're talking here with Dr. Tom Osborne, Exeter Milligan Friend Network, alongside teammates working together to help promote back to school time. Of course, big recruitment and the coach inside you. Normally, when we have discussions like this, we get to talk about the big game. Of course, the big game right now is getting the awareness out to people. Going, hey, time is now. Time to be there for the students in your area. Of course, for my neck of the woods, Exeter Milligan, Fillmore Central, but anywhere there's a chapter. And there's so many chapters along the great state of Nebraska and across the 5 different states you cover, correct?
Yeah, we're in 191 school districts, and of course about 140 some of those are in Nebraska. So there aren't a whole lot of communities in Nebraska that don't have teammates. And the thing that's a little bit unique about us is that Big Brothers Big Sisters and Boys and Girls Clubs, those are fairly common in large communities like Lincoln or Omaha. But in the smaller communities, you talk about mentoring, teammates is probably the only game in town. And so we got a lot of inquiries from Texas and Arizona and Minnesota, East Coast, so that they know a little bit about us. They've seen our metrics, and we'd like to have a start there, but you can't outkick your coverage, and you have to make sure your financial resources will be able to carry things off. And so we think that we are probably as good a model for mentoring as there is out there because we cost about 1/3 to 1/4 what most mentoring programs cost. Very cost efficient, and we do have data that indicates that it does work. Graduation percentage for teammates runs between 95-98%. And when you think about the fact that most of these kids are free and reduced lunch, not all of them, and most of them are single parent or no parent families, not all of them, but that's a very high percentage to graduate 95 to 98%. You'd normally think that with that particular demographic, graduation would probably be 75%, 70%. And without a high school diploma, life really gets hard.
Yeah.
And so our objective is to get them through high school. And then 80% of our mentees have post-secondary plans to go on to college. And we feel that their job really isn't done until those young people have a marketable skill. And that may mean going into a trade school, maybe a community college, maybe a four-year institution. We have over $3 million in scholarships that we award to our seniors each year. And so it doesn't just end usually with high school. Usually it goes beyond that. And we do provide post-secondary mentors. And we found that for first generation college students, people who didn't have anybody in their family gone to college, the retention rate from first year to second year was only about 65%. They hit a bump in the road. A
Wow.
lot of those kids didn't have anybody at home to relate to what they're going through, and so they'd quit. And by providing a post-secondary mentor, quite often the one they had in high school, we found that that retention rate went up to over 90% from first year to second. And usually if they stay in the second year, then they're going to continue on to graduation. So anyway, we do a lot of post-secondary mentoring as well.
Do you see a lot of, as we get tail end on time here, and uh, do you see a lot of the ones that get mentored as they grow up and then they get out of the picture, out of the education picture, come back and become a mentor for the next
Yeah,
roll of kids in that way?
yeah, we have a lot of that. Anymore, like last night I was in Omaha, and somebody came up to me and said, I was in teammates, and really appreciate what happened, and I'm a mentor now. And so we find a lot of that. The kids have that experience and they realize that they would like to continue to serve by being a mentor.
Wow, that's awesome. I, we could sit here and talk a time or two and pick your brain about everything that goes, but for what you've done for the teammates mentoring program, my final question to you from where you and Nancy were back in 91, could you imagine how everything has developed so far and still continues to develop? Does this kind of blow your mind?
Well, yeah, we just thought it would begin and end with some football players mentoring, and because we knew it would be good for the young people that were mentoring, but we also felt that the young guys on our football team that were mentoring would benefit as well to serve somebody else. And so, yeah, when it started out, we had no idea that it would expand. But it did seem to work. It did seem to serve a purpose. And as we went on here in Lincoln using adult mentors, um, we realized this was a scalable, marketable product that we could we're not making money. Obviously, we have to raise $3-4 million a year to run the program,
Yeah.
and so it has served a lot of kids.
Well, you keep doing you just continue to do the most good. You got a great support staff that's really working hard to keep this program continuing on, and it's just an honor for what you've done so far and what you continue to do. Thank you so much for what you do for teammates.
Thank you, Eric.
And it's an honor, and of course, whatever I can do to help out at the local level, and like I said, for you, the listening audience as well, to become a mentor, it's real easy. 1, 2, 3. Number one, sign up, make sure, and go to the website teammates.org. You will get contacted by a local representative, go through the training process, like Coach Tom said here, and then you'll be paired up with a mentee, and just like that, you're changing lives for the good. And of course, can't wait to keep talking more about teammates and what to expect. Of course, just let everybody know too, this September 18th through the 22nd, Teammates is hosting Spirit Week to help people get excited about the cause. Of course, great partner in Runza. I know Dr. Tom love him some Runza there, but they're a great partner for teammates, and they've always treated the program great. And very excited to have Runza help out again this year. Correct?
That's right. Yeah, I remember Don Everett was a guy who really got Brunswick going, and he was a walk-on football player for us. And one day he came in to see me, and he said, I'm gonna have to quit football. He said my grandparents started this whole restaurant out on the west end of Lincoln. He said I'm gonna have to help with that, and he took it over, and of course it expanded all across the state. But Don was always a great supporter of teammates, and Brunswick continues to do that, as do many other businesses.
Of course, many other great businesses that help support teammates. We want to thank you as well for your loyalty and support. And of course, Mr. Osborne, it's been an honor. I appreciate the time. Like I said, I could probably talk a day or two and pick your brain, but I know time's precious. But thank you for what you do. Thank you for impacting my life, and of course, many others. As the kids are back in school, you're doing the most good. And thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you, Eric.
Well, thank you. And of course, thank you all for listening. For Mr. Tom Osborne, I'm Eric Johnson saying so long for now.